Good morning. Good morning. Ooh, we got an alfalfa here. Let's see if we can integrate it in there, huh? First day of new haircut, first sleeping on a new haircut. So technically, new haircut, what do you want to call it? Bedhead. That's it. Yeah, new haircut, bedhead. Welcome to you. So, good morning, good morning. I will admit, good morning, Monk and Barbara and Ava, F16, Kay and LJ and Leslie with one, I don't know, Leslie, what else? With an M, LJ and Blonde Cheryl and Mata Hari, there's my Boston accent. Becky R68, Grandma with a Canada flag. Nice to see you. Sea View 175. I hope you have a view of the sea. You're gonna spread my sunshine. I love it. I love it. So good morning, everybody, and Mar and Beck. A top of the morning to you. I bet all the Irish people say that. Try me, I'm delicious. You guys, this is kind of funny. I am slowly waking up right now. You always love my energy. Well, Grandma, you know what? You're going to see my energy kind of, this is me literally just waking up. I woke up in the middle of the night, as many of us do, went to go pee, as many of us do, and for whatever reason, I could not get back to sleep. I did fall asleep at some point, and then my alarm did go off this morning, and I did not get up. And so anyhow, it's really funny because I have been literally like awake for maybe less than 10 minutes or so. Like, 8 o'clock, TikTok live. So I am slowly waking up myself. Now my energy here feels good. You know how we start everything? Yeah, it's going to happen, Becky, though. It's going to happen. That's what I say to myself. This has happened before. No big deal. No big deal. However, it's kind of funny because it's like, I'm so glad. I am so glad my inner me woke me up in time because my alarm, I forgot to hit like the snooze button. But I'm glad to be here. La Prof, good morning as well for you. What was I going to say? So here's a good thing. Again, I like to show you kind of a repeatable process, a recipe, a method. It's so funny when I was writing the content for my website, of which I am still not really keen on. I was trying to think of kind of a repeatable process. Like, do you want to learn a process? Does that sound exciting or boring? Do you want to know a recipe? Now, a recipe sounds to me a little bit more exciting because it's a little bit more kind of closer to how we are as humans. Like a recipe for, I'm always going to think chocolate chip cookies. But a process, a method, a series of steps that if you do them for the most part in the same order, it can set you up for good stuff. So I offer to you this, taking a scan from the top of your head down, using the word down, to the tips of your toes. And I noticed this morning when I woke up, I had a wee bit of a headache coming on. Now, I know myself to ignore the messages from my body at my peril. It's like, beware, do not ignore this message at your peril. If your body is sending you a message, and if you ignore it, the headache can get worse. So much like I say to you, check in with your human body right now. How's it going from the tip of your head to a scan, like, I don't know, Bionic Man or something. And I noticed that immediately my scanner hit red right here. Now, the good news is it was here and here, so I know it's not a migraine, which is typically just on one side. But then I was like, okay. And then I was like, all right. And then I'm a little bit thirsty, and I should probably have my vitamins. From the waist down, things are good. Knees are there, toes. So get in touch with, reconnect with. And that sounds like an ad for Calgon, take me away or whatever, but reconnect with your body. Ignore the messages from your physical body and your energetic body at your peril. So I have got my cup of tea. The caffeine will help me wake up. Also, it's a nice little routine. I love myself a hot cup of tea. I also have my not so hot but equally important glass of water, or a plass, as my husband and I once called it. Would you like a plass of wine? A plastic glass. Making yourself feel better and showing up. Am I 100%? No. Can you drive your car without the tank being on 100% full? Yes. So do not worry if you're not at 100%. Show up, do some stuff, have some fun. Lather, rinse, repeat. Alrighty. Hey, Allie D is chiming in. Good morning. Good morning. Wanted to let you know we filled a 20-yard dumpster at my mother-in-law's. Smiley face. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Now, as I said, I do not, I will preface this by saying I try very hard not to declutter shame. So I offer to you, if the way that you have decided to declutter is to use a dumpster, I love it. Go right ahead. Especially when it's somebody else's stuff and you don't feel like spending your life sorting through somebody else's stuff that they did not spend their time sorting through their own stuff, right? Yeah. Yeah, Ellen, nice to see you. Not at 100, but keep moving forward. Good to see you as well. So putting stuff in a dumpster is a way of decluttering. Now, my decluttering method of choice is to donate more than dumpster, but sometimes dumpster's the way to go. Dumpster gives you a certain amount, and it's a shorter amount of time. And if you've made the decision that you do not want anything from your mother-in-law's house, you're putting it in there. This is a story I like to tell myself, which makes me feel better. I'm not the first person to do this, and I won't be the last. So yay for progress. We're sorting through. I love it. Okay. We just had enough to finally get rid of, and we donated what we could. Allie D, I'm so psyched for you. I really am. Because it's one thing. I almost said it's bad enough, because it's like, it's bad enough that this happens. It's just a figure of speech. It's one thing when it's your own stuff and you have to spend your time, your energy, and your money going through your personal items. That's one thing. But when it's somebody else's stuff, I say preserve your time, money, and energy as most you can. And also there will be an estate sale and garage sale. Oh, Allie D, you are just checking off the check boxes. Awesome. Leslie's giving you a bravo. I'll give you a brava. I think that's what they say to the divas when they sing at the opera. It's been 2 months going through her home. Oh, honey bunch. No, I don't know where you live, but you know what I love? I love the fact that you're at the end of that process as opposed to the beginning, when where I am, the weather is starting to get nice. Now, I don't know if you are as affected by the weather as I am, but I will say to you that I am so psyched myself. Our basement project is coming to a close. It has been almost 2 months for us. And I love the fact that it's happening right as the weather's turning good. So yay, Allie D, and everybody who's making it happen. Yeah, Cat Mama, you're getting some praises. I hope you're seeing all this good stuff that's coming up in the comments. Cat Mama, who shows up on the reg, as they say here, not on the rag, but on the regular, says took 1.5 years at Mom's while taking care of her, and still stuff in my house. What I am doing the same thing. Finally, when my mother turned 80 years old, and here's a wonderful thing about that, is my mother, I had been trying for literal decades to declutter the house that my parents lived in and I grew up in. Little bit helped, it would go back. And I remember, one of the things my mother says, even yesterday when I was on the phone with her, well, I've got so much to do. And I got to figure out what to keep and what to give away. She doesn't have to technically, but this is what she chooses to believe. It's fine with me. But she finally allowed me to help with that stuff. So I have been, with her permission, been able to help declutter that house more so than ever. And the reason I love that is because I would so much rather do it in waves and years and weeks and months and a little kind of a weeding at a time, like you weed your garden, and versus, she dies and then the whole house is full and we have to empty it, Yeah, and it can be crazy. Yeah, and Leslie M. says, as someone who has gone through the loss and clutter aftermath, anything you do will be a help. That sounds like almost something I would put on a mug. Okay, usually I have one that says, every little bit helps. So I love it. And this one says different stuff on it. Kat Roby is in the house. Decades and waves. Yeah. I mean, that's really how life is. You guys, it is crazy to me to realize in my life and in my journey through life, I am at the end of one, getting towards closer to the end of one decade. I'm closer to the end of one decade than I am to the beginning of it. I am thinking of things, how things do come in waves. That, I was talking about a pretty deep thing with my family about how past history, you see, a wave, a crest and a wave and and it's like if the waves have crashed before like this, they probably will in the future. Because life is not, though people want to turn as many things into machines as they can. And trust me, if the machine of the internet and the cell phone and the computer were not around, I would be a different person. I would have a different life. And you and I would not be chatting right now. So I embrace technology for good, but I also do that with the knowledge that there are certain things you cannot replace. And we were talking about AI and on a couple of TikTok lives and YouTube lives. And I just want to say that please, even and especially in this age of AI, use technology as your sidekick. Use it to support what you want. But practice finding out with your own intelligence, your own emotional, physical, all the intelligentsia that is within your body and brain and heart and spirit, what you want, so you can get technology and AI to help you with that. Do not replace your own decision maker. And really, the more I coach, the more I realize, and hopefully, like, the simpler and clearer I can make it, that really to me anyway, this is how everything is through my lens. So just being said, making decisions with your head and your heart and saying, what do I want? Getting more comfortable listening inside you of what you want. Writing that down to remind yourself of that destination, and then planning your actions accordingly. Will that action get me that result? Will that action get me closer to the result I want? Now, that really is how you declutter, and button or they'll get you pretty far. That's how you do so much else on the planet too. What do I want? How do I get there? Destination. And I realized once again, I jump in and I start saying hi to people I know. It's almost like a party, right? Imagine this. This is a party and I'm walking in and you guys are filing in, let's say, and I'm saying filing in, so it's more like it goes from being like a party to maybe like an auditorium, like a cool place, like we're in a vintage theater, and we're walking into the lobby. Hey, you, I see you. Nice to see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. But in the meantime, I'm here because I'm doing a thing on the stage where I'm really just sitting at the edge of the stage. It's not like, look at me, I'm way up here. I'm sitting there at the edge of the stage, and you guys come in, and you're here. You've asked to be here. Now, some of you know me, so you know immediately you're picking up what I'm putting down. But those of you who don't, I kind of forgot to introduce myself before I leapt in, so I apologize. My name is Beth. I am a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Notice I just talked about that. I do TikTok lives as we are doing right now. I do YouTube lives, as I will do at 11 o'clock this morning. And I do one-on-one paid coaching. I have a coaching package, 10 sessions, paid coaching, just you and me. So instead of all these other people, it's like consistent one-on-ones, if you're interested in that. Also, decluttering parties. Now, I will share with you guys right now, there's a decluttering party scheduled for this morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. It's about 8:16 Eastern now. Nobody signed up for it yet. Now, I'm cool with that because it's not about me, it's about you. If that time slot doesn't work for you, that's good for me to know. But if it is good for you and you're like, oh, I kind of forgot, but oh, I could do the decluttering party, make sure you're on the mailing list at destinationdeclutter.com. If you're not, sign up for it. You'll get an email with a link to the secret page. The secret page has all the info. Okay? So that's kind of like the admin. That would be as if I had my college radio show like back in the 80s, and I started by playing, somebody did the station ID, and then I played a few songs, and I chatted a bit, and I played a few songs, and then at around 1:15, I introduced myself. I will be here too on doing this TikTok live on Thursday. I'm trying to practice without looking at the calendar. It's Thursday. It's June 5th, I think. Yep, I was right. Thursday, June 5th, 2025. It's about 8:17 in the morning Eastern time. So, back to your regularly scheduled programs. So, yeah, and Leslie, I love that you're noticing that, and I'm so psyched that you were writing it down. I cannot tell you how it makes my heart swell when I hear somebody that's writing down what I'm saying, because I write down stuff all the time and it really helps me. So as Leslie says, it's a framework for life. So let's review the framework for life, okay? Just really quick. And it is never like a regular like class. It never gets boring because I never repeat, it's never the same thing twice. I'll have to look for that. That's something. Anybody with a Gen X mindset, it's never ever the same thing twice. That's coming up, but I don't know what like product or jingle it's attached to. A lot of it is kind of reconnecting, checking in with what's going on from the skin within. So your physical body, doing a scan from the tip of your head down to the bottom tips of your toes. If you're not feeling good, what can you do to make yourself feel better physically? And this could be long-term. It also could be very much short-term, first thing in the morning. Then checking in with your energy, your energetic stuff that's going on underneath the surface. Your blood flows through your veins, but I'm pretty sure there's energy running through this meat sack that we all are walking around in. How's your energy this morning? Now, I'm feeling a little bit more awake now because I have been talking. Talking requires me to breathe, articulate, get a bit sharper. But if your energy, and I mean, if you're cool right now, yay. Yay for having your nervous system not all wound up, not all riled up, not all activated, not all overwhelmed. Notice all these ups and overwhelms and the way my hands are going like this. Like from your energy center. This is where I think it lives. Up. If you're feeling like this is what I think might be a better thing. Would be, right, thank you. TJ Maxx, never ever the same place twice. Thank you, Hive Mind. Thank you, Grupo Supportivo. I love it. But I digress. Your energetic body. How are you feeling energetically? Are you ready to kind of do some cool stuff today? Or are you kind of overwhelmed, don't know where to start? Or maybe you're like this. What I offer to you is, if you're like this, that sometimes is not helpful. Overwhelm, paralyzation. So we're going to calm down the nervous system. So notice I said scan down, and then it's all the downs, which is sit down, quiet down, breathe down. Never underestimate the power of breathing. If Debbie Harry was to rewrite Dreaming is Free, now dreaming is free and it's part of this, breathing is also free. Breathing can change how you feel. If you're all anxious and nervous, you've probably tightened up your body, your lungs are constricted, and you might be hyperventilating. I'm all freaked out, right? So we do the opposite. Shoulders down, muscles relaxing down, breathing down to the bottom of your lungs, expanding your lungs to breathe down. So really notice I'm not talking about what to do with your stuff yet. We haven't even gotten there. It takes longer for me sometimes to explain it than it does to do it. But I ask you, I remind you, ignore your physical and energetic body at your peril. Da-da-da. There are messages that you have information, you have intelligence that cannot be transmitted to you via the English word. It's animal. It is. It's like, animals can't speak, but they can tell you how they're feeling by how they are acting physically. And so tuning into that part of you, there are messages that could benefit you. Okay? That being said, once you're feeling better physically and energetically, then I highly recommend grabbing a pen, and I should get an underwritten by Staples, except they wouldn't want me to be hawking their 50-cent, just plain old college-bound notebooks. A spiral-bound lined notebook and a pen. Write down stuff. Chunk down stuff. That is a really good way, and the one thing you want to do is your destination. So we'll get into that later, but I want to jump in because somebody is asking. I love it. I love the Cat Roby. Notice you. Still sitting down, not doing laundry or taking a walk. That's fine. Cat Roby, you usually hit the ground running. Doesn't mean you always have to. You are allowed to sit down. Everybody here, you are allowed to sit down. You are allowed to do things differently than you have done before. Doing something different gives you a different result. So if you don't, so conversely, as they would say, like, I guess in math, on the flip side, that means if you don't like what's going on, change your process. Now, Gabriel is saying, do you donate the stuff you want to get rid of or sell? Oops. And I will say, sassily, yes. I have in the past sold stuff. In the future, I may sell a very select items. Literally, I can think of one thing I'm going to sell. I tend to donate things more. Okay? I tend to donate more because that's where I am. But I learned from the process of selling things how it was sometimes beneficial and sometimes it wasn't. So I offer to you, there are a number of roads that get to your destination decluttered. This is learn from my experience. This is me as an older sister. This is me as an auntie. This is me as somebody who has been on the planet for decades, done a lot of things, and learned from what I did. So learn from my experience so I might save you. I hope to save you years of your life not doing what I did so that you can spend more of those years and doing better stuff. So, who was it? Gabrielle? Look, and everybody who's even toying with the idea of one of the ways to get decluttered is to sell some of my stuff. So one of the other things we do with write down and calm down, slow down is write down, but also chunk down. Leslie says, I now come to the lives with pen and paper. I often refer to the questions you pose later on. I love it. So here's the thing I want to offer to you. If you are thinking of selling some of your stuff, notice not all of your stuff is going to be worth something to anybody. Some of the stuff in your house, which is clutter is the stuff you don't want. Some of the clutter in your house may be legit trash or recycles. So a category, a chunk of your stuff may fall under the category of this may be worth something. What I offer to you right now is today's neighborhood drugstore, CVS. Today, look through your house for items that are of that may be worth money. If I get rid of it, I want to sell it. Instead of being unclear if it's worth money, find out what it's worth. This is when AI and the Google and technology can be your sidekick. Hey, sidekick, tell me how much this is people are paying for Francis I silver from Reed and Barton, a meat fork or something. So if you are considering the idea of selling things, see how much it's actually worth, and then see if it's not. And here's the thing, is something worth, if it's worth money, it may be worth your time to sell it. But time is something you will never get back. You can always make money in different ways, but you will never make back time. We all have months and years and minutes behind us that will never come back. Time only kind of moves forward. So I am really cognizant about how much time it would take me to make money selling my stuff. Now, I have one item in this closet right here that I know is going to make me hundreds of dollars, or I hope it will, last time I checked. So I know it's going to be worth my while to sell that. Other than that, it would be pennies on the dollar. Okay? And so just research, get curious, look at your stuff from that different lens. Is there anything around my house I'm thinking might be worth some money? Find out. And I say this also because we waited in my house. When my dad died, we waited to sell some of his things, and they lost value. They lost value. If we had sold them right away, we might have been able to make more money. And we waited so long that pretty much we barely could give them away. So again, I come to you with intelligence. Having walked through this, having lived through this, learn from what I do, and learn from what you do. Pardon me, I'm going to sneeze. I often sneeze in 2s or 3s. Alrighty. So Becky says past trauma of if you're not busy, you're lazy. Yeah, here's the thing. Leslie, because Leslie said right up, she brings paper. Becky, notice in the past, that phrase has affected you. Yeah. So this is what I do with those unhelpful thoughts and feelings. I fold a paper in half and I write them down, and I put them in quotes. Notice that there is a thought that makes me feel bad. A thought, words in your head, that's all thoughts are. Words in your head, a bunch of words strung together is a sentence and is a thought. And when a thought makes you feel something, are you a good witch or are you a bad witch? So a bad witch thought is the phrase, in quotes, if you're not busy, you're lazy. Write that down on the left-hand side of the paper in quotes. But notice what you're doing already. And this is the process. This is coaching yourself. Replacing that thought with a better, more helpful, more good witch thought, which is, I allow myself to rest. I deserve to rest. And I like to just, if it's one sentence on the unhelpful side of that folded piece of paper in your spiral bound notebook from Staples, trademark, one sentence, I like to amplify. I like to call in response. If you say that thing that's unhelpful, what's the opposite? I write that down and I find many ways to say that one phrase in a more helpful way. I allow myself to rest. I deserve to rest. Lazy as a construct. My body needs to rest. When I rest, I do better jobs. When I rest and I allow my body to rest and my brain to rest, I show up better for other things. So that's another thing. So Leslie, you might practice that today when you've got your notebook, folding a piece of paper in half. And this is what coaching is. It really is. It's tuning in to the radio in your head and noticing the song lyrics, which are just bunches of words strung together that cause you to feel a feeling. What are the song lyrics that make you feel wah, wah, making you feel not like you want to do something, making you feel bad? Bad thoughts, good thoughts. Unhelpful thoughts, helpful thoughts. Fear-based thoughts, love-based thoughts. Notice the opposite. That's what that line down the paper, I feel like Bernadette from Zoom, right? So, play with that. You can change how you think. Now, you're not going to brainwash yourself, but stop. Put a roadblock up. I even have this written down on a post-it. Put up roadblock against and stop unwanted behaviors. So imagine that you're driving down the road and all of a sudden something comes out and you're like, no, No, I do not want. Before you get in, like, to my car, no, I'm locking the door. I'm putting up a roadblock. You're stopping. I'm stopping you right now. I'm putting up a stop sign to that thought, and I'm going to think this other one because it makes me feel better. And when I feel better, I do better. Alrighty. So notice past trauma can still be affecting you today. Do not underestimate how things you learned when you were a kid, things you learned in your past, are how you do things today, and they ain't working out for you. Right? All right. Anastasia, for real, let me help you with this. Here is a visual indicator that somebody's feeling overwhelmed. I can tell this because of words and sentences, so notice this. Anastasia says, since I haven't seen you, I'm building my clothes pile and kitchen stuff, and it says exclamation points. Now, I love an exclamation point. But then she ends it with ugh. So notice she's indicating to me, she's communicating through words, how that's making her feel. I have 3 countertop ice makers. 2 don't work, and 1 barely does. Okay, notice these things. So Anastasia, when I see exclamation points and ugh, my coaching, my wanting to help body says, I bet she's overwhelmed. Remind her to calm down, slow down, breathe down, and then write down. Now, we just were talking about writing down, and we folded the paper in half. Unhelpful thought, helpful thought. Playing the opposites, the flip side. If you have 3 countertop ice makers, and notice how I ask this question, and learn from the tone I use, and notice, ideally, the lack of judgment and the opposite of lack, the presence of curiosity, the abundance of curiosity and the lack of judgment. Because being judgy is going to shut you down. Curiosity is going to open you up. I ask you to ask yourself, why are you keeping one of those ice makers that does not work? So put that thought, keeping an ice maker. I am keeping this ice maker that doesn't work, and this is going to be on the left-hand side. You can write it on either side, but I like to do the unhelpful on the left and then the helpful on the right, even though I'm left-handed. Why am I saving 2 broken ice makers and 1 that barely works? Why am I saving them? And use what I just did. Turn down the judgment and turn up the curiosity. And then on the other side, or actually no, there, because it's going to be unhelpful thoughts that are keeping those things. Discover for yourself what are the thoughts underneath why you're keeping those things. It's going to be illuminating. Kara's Garden, good morning. And you also have, notice here, I knew it because I can tell, I can sniff out overwhelm a mile away. So 1 sentence, you had exclamation points, and this is another hallmark of being overwhelmed. Notice this in your own brain. Now, this is where I like to give my thoughts in my brain personalities. Now, one of them is a backseat driver. One of them is a backseat driver. It's the thought that makes you feel bad. And it's like a little toddler strapped in a car seat who's afraid of something. And they are hyperventilating. And then this, and then this, and then this, and then this happened, and I can't get blah, blah. It doesn't let you get a word in edgewise. So notice Anastasia, even when she's typing, she's like, I have 3 countertop ice makers, and 2 don't even work, and 1 barely does. I had 4 propane tanks. Oh, good. She had them. I didn't read the sentence, but she had 4 propane tanks in the yard. She decided she didn't want them, and I sold them for $30. Awesome. Okay, now that's a good thing. Okay, that's actually a good thing. That's a helpful thing. I had 4 propane tanks. I did not want them. I was able to easily sell them for $30. Yay. So let's go back to the original thing with the ice makers. Don't judge yourself about why they're there. They are there. Do you want them now? If you don't want them, what is the roadblock? What is stopping you from easily getting them out of your home? Okay. And I sometimes, okay. Just in case it decides to work? Okay, how about this? Yeah, isn't it funny? Just in case it decides to work. You have checked those, they haven't worked. But I'll offer this, please, because I have a wonderful example of yesterday. I'll get into the story perhaps, but something that I thought I checked on again and something had changed. So I offer to you, Anastasia, one step you can take today. One step you can take today is to check. So notice, you want destination, feeling good about keeping an ice maker, feeling good about getting rid of an ice maker. Destination feeling good is destination decluttered. So I offer to you one step closer than where you are right now, because you're in the unknown. How can you know if it works or not? So I highly recommend Anastasia. Today, find 3 outlets, set up all 3 ice makers, and see if all 3, if they work and how they work. Today. Could you do that? Well, you could. It's up to you whether you do it or not, frankly. Okay? But that is a step in the right direction. Because notice, I don't care about your ice makers, but it's something that is bugging you because your brain had that thought and your mouth said it or your fingers typed it. So there is something that's bugging you about the ice makers. So if you are unsure about something, how can you be more sure about something? Okay? So notice that. Notice. And it will not decide to work. Kind of like AI, it cannot work without us. It does not have independent thought. You can notice if that machine, that inanimate object, is still broken or it's working again. When you find out if it's working or not, or how it's working, then you make a decision. Do I want to keep it now that I know it's still broken? Because you made that decision before. You made the decision, it doesn't work, but I'm still hanging on to it. Or, it doesn't work, what's the easiest way I can let go of this? Okay? Now again, I will always be team donate versus team dumpster. However, do not donate stuff that does not work. Please do not donate things that you would not want to see in a thrift store. So if it doesn't work, then I highly recommend finding a way in your community that you can responsibly get rid of some sort of electrical plug-in equipment. I know, for example, where I live, I'm lucky enough that there are these like recycle events that pretty much, I swear to God, they had one the other day and I'm like, I don't have anything. I kind of want to donate, but I have nothing. Anything with a cord. So it will be like an electronics recycling thing. Now see, Anastasia, you got one in the thrift store and it either didn't work or it worked for a short amount of time. So don't be that person. Coming from a professional thrifter with decades worth of experience, do not be that jerk who donates crappy stuff. Now, I just mean crappy by it's not something that you would want. You don't want it, but if it doesn't work, if you don't want it, and it does because it doesn't work, nobody else is going to want it either. Okay? But notice this. This is the process. Now, I'm talking specifically and one-on-one to Anastasia about an ice maker or ice makers. This exact process. What is it that you have in your home that you are struggling to let go of? The struggle between I don't want it and I do. Do I have my little thing here? I like to, oh, there we go. Oh, hey, where have you been? My little stringy, my little rope, right? I got this out of one of my hoodies. Okay, so tension, right? Pull. I'm pulling this way, I'm pulling that way. Tension in your life is caused by one thing going this way and one thing going that way. You know how you release tension? Picking a side. Saying, I'm going to keep it and feel good. Okay, tension is released. Or, I'm going to donate it or get rid of it. I'm going to get it out of my life and I'm going to feel good about it. But if you are keeping yourself on the fence, in limbo, probably, maybe, I don't know. Imagine, like a limbo, like everybody limbo, with the bamboo and the wacky music and stuff like that. That's freaking exhausting. Yeah. So here we go. Kat Roby has started her check marks. Kat Roby, I thought of you. I sent a text to my sister yesterday and I found the little green check mark emoji, and I said, I did this, I did that, I did the other thing, and I thought of you. So thank you for that idea. Now, Lynn Berger is offering to Anastasia, one of the things you can say is, the ice maker is at the end of its useful life. Yes, many items in our homes have a shelf life. Sadly, some of them shorter than they used to be, but it has done its job, and now it is dead. Allow yourself to bury it. Now notice, Laura is saying, my problem is, and the neat thing is I used to not call it a problem, but then I like to say, if I got a problem, yo, I'll solve it. But a problem has a solution. If your problem is, I think I can repurpose everything, everything's such an interesting word. Everything is way too vague and way too blankety. It's all or nothing. It's everything, nothing. It's too extreme. So I would say, Laura, you may, let's instead of getting on the extremes of everything and nothing, because all or nothing tends to have you do nothing, chunking it down and getting onto the rainbow, getting onto that spectrum. I think I can repurpose everything, but I can't. What I would offer is, I think I probably can. Notice a little bit more of the subtle language. There are some things I can repurpose, and there are some things I cannot. Notice how that may feel, how that kind of loosens things up, that it could give you the idea of looking at the stuff that previously you thought you could repurpose. All of this stuff. Do you have a table in the basement of stuff you can repurpose? I used to. So go back and look at that table. If you could repurpose it, you have done it already. If you haven't repurposed it, why not? So notice that when you get off of the extremes, action and change can happen on that rainbow, on that spectrum between all or nothing, everything and nothing, all that stuff. So if the thought of, I think I can repurpose everything, is causing a problem in your life, change the thought, change the problem, get closer to the solution. Hey, Anne, nice to see you. I recognize you by your little emoji thing. And oh my gosh, you guys, it's 8:43. It's 8:43 already. So in case we're just meeting, again, I'll introduce myself, I guess like my college radio days. My name is Beth. Not that I talked about college clutter during college radio, but my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach, and my coaching is called Destination Decluttered. Destination because I love to travel, and it's really a good way of using that kind of road trip framework, stuff that we already know, to do something different. All right? So Anna's saying, I'm decluttering my kitchen table. The school year ends tomorrow. School's out for summer. Love that feeling. I will go to my deathbed being psyched about summer. Can't help it. The changing of the season. But I digress. Lots of kids' papers and projects. And look, she found a plate of cookies she'd set out at least a week ago. Anastasia's saying, don't eat the cookies. Yeah. There we go. Yes, Kat Roby got the double wacky of the, if you got a problem, you all solve it. Not only do we have under pressure, but under pressure. You know, under pressure, you want to get under pressure, get out from under the pressure. Gen X here, what can I do? I speak in pop culture from my youth. It's a way I communicate with my other people. It's like a secret code, right? Now, Leslie says, is thinking is different from making a plan and to repurpose a specific item? Yes. I give myself a deadline and permission to get rid of it if I don't do anything. Yeah. And Anne says, yes, that's what coffee is for, melting old cookies. Yeah, you know what? You decide whether you eat that cookie or not. You decide whether you eat that thing that dropped on the floor. 5-second rule, anybody? So it's up to you what you do with those cookies. What you may be getting is curious, where it's like, wow, that obviously to me would indicate almost like an archaeological dig. You've got layers. That's the Wednesday stuff. That's the Tuesday stuff. That's the Monday stuff. That's the Sunday stuff. That's the Saturday stuff. Oh, around Thursday of last week, I put down these cookies and stuff got piled up on it, and we didn't remove the stuff that was on the kitchen table. We as a family have habits of piling stuff on the table and leaving it there, sometimes weeks on end, leaving it there and not doing anything about it. Now, I don't say this as judgment. I say it as Nancy Drew. I observe the evidence of cluttered habits here. I don't judge. I'm looking for clues. Looking for clues like Robert Palmer, I believe. You know, I love it. Speaking of ice, and here's a fun thing. We were talking about ice makers, and previously, now most of you know this, but in case you don't, this TikTok live is being recorded, and it's going to be uploaded to Destination Decluttered on YouTube. Excuse me. There is a YouTube live this morning, later today. And my YouTube channel has all of the lives I've done, both on TikTok and YouTube. And I know if you go back into the archives, of which there are hundreds, over 700, well over 700 videos available for you to watch for free, to pop them on, especially when I'm not around. In some of those, you will hear me talking about our process of releasing a Instapot that we didn't want anymore. So Ice Maker, Instapot, Kara's saying, I'm going to give away that air fryer my friend gave me that I haven't used. It's too big anyways. Yep. There we go. Sneaking Sally through the alley, Kara. I love it. Picking up what I'm putting down. So notice, because we're talking about this stuff, what are some kitchen gadgets, some kind of one-trick ponies that you bought that you thought you were going to use, and maybe you even did use it for a while, and then maybe you fell into not using it? It didn't stick. It wasn't something you used often. Maybe you haven't used it at all. Maybe you used it and it's broken. What are some things in your life? Ice Maker, baby. Oh my God, Kat Roby. You are on it. Tammy Lee's got a blender. So just notice these things about yourself. Yeah, I love this. Because Leslie, and notice what we're learning here. Leslie is saying, TikTok sometimes makes all the comments go away for me. So let me do this. So Leslie says, I give myself a deadline. Give yourself a deadline. A deadline can be a good thing. I wish there was a better word for it than dead, but regardless. And I give myself permission. I give myself permission to do this thing. Now, Anne has discovered in her thoughts and feelings and actions that the whole thing for me, she says, is permission. I'm finally not held back by the old generation. Notice the older generation put thoughts in our heads. Sometimes they were good, sometimes not so good. But I'm finally noticing that and not being held back by what they said, and I'm learning my own permissions. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Now, Mel says, when my rooms are clean, with little quotey quotersons there, there's still piles of stuff everywhere and still feel cluttered. Okay. You know what means? That's okay, Mel. It's probably better than you want. Notice the difference between clean and decluttered. It can be physically clean. I just got in touch with somebody yesterday to help us clean the house because it's been a mess for weeks and months, and there's like dust everywhere because of the construction going on in the basement. So cleaning is different than decluttering. So cleaning can be done by anybody. Decluttering can only be done by you and whoever you happen to live with. So Mel, if you have still piles of everywhere and still feels cluttered, yes, because the clutter is still there. So you are spot on. And you're noticing a difference between clean and decluttered. So, but notice this one word. Again, if I had and it's not going to be a red pen, it's going to be a green pen. It's going to be a green colored pencil. If I were a teacher, if I was here, I would circle the word everywhere, Mel. Because it's really not everywhere. It's in a few specific places. I like to chunk down the declaratory words that get us overwhelmed. Everywhere is an overwhelm statement. It can be. Because you could say, I look everywhere and I love what I see. But even that, you have a pile in that corner, you have a pile in this corner, you have a pile on the table, you have a pile under the desk. You have some specific places. Write down the specifics. When you write down those specific areas, they cease to become everywhere, which can be overwhelming, and you've chunked it down. And then when you chunk things down, you can apply it one thing at a time. Okay? Now, I love it. You guys, in the last 10 minutes here, everybody who's tuned in right now struggling with clutter, let's pretend we're in the kitchen. Maybe you're in the kitchen yourself. People are doing this right now. Let's look at this specific category. Not like I have too much everything. That is a good thing to know, that the clutter is making you feel a certain way, pardon me, but it's not helpful. It's just too vague. Let's get specific. We're in the kitchen, or we're thinking of kitchen items. I want you to think of a kitchen item that you used because you brought it into, and notice this process. I saw something somewhere on the internet, at somebody's house, at Target, at a thrift store. I saw a thing that part of my brain thought might make my life easier and better. An ice maker, an air fryer, somebody says an egg cooker, a blender, a food saver, an Instapot, a crock pot. Notice, every one of us has these. Notice you have this thing that you thought would make your life easier. Now, here's another thing too. So you notice a thing, you bring it into your life thinking it's going to improve your life somehow. Now, I want you to think of past you. I want you to think of present you today, right here. And I want you to think of future you. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, as we would say back in Boston. All right? Past you brought that thing in. Past you thought it would make your life better. And past you may have used this item. Rock on. Let's talk to today you, right now. Ask your today self. Am I using that blender, that food saver, that egg cooker, that air fryer, that Instapot, that crock pot? Am I using that? And technically not today, like I'm not making, grape jelly meatballs right now, but am I using that in the life that I live kind of right now? Notice how I paused there? I paused and shut myself up so you could listen to your answer. Popcorn maker, somebody said. I may have used it in the past. Am I using it now? And also, Wanderlust Girl said, with future you, will future me ever use this again? Yeah, and Anne is noticing with 2 blenders, the quantities. Tammy Lee has 3 crock pots, Anne has 2 blenders. Wonder if I really need them both. I use both, but maybe I don't need to. Now that gets into the quantity and quality you have. So if you use a blender, do I really need 2 of them? Do I need 2 of them? Am I going to have 2? Am I going to have a time where I'm going to need to use 2 of these concurrently? And what I love is you can make those decisions. So notice these things. One blender is a Ninja with 2 blades, but the other is a glass one with a rugged motor. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. One crash. Call it a finish line. Yeah, I'll experiment with that. Thank you. Okay. So what I want to offer to you is listen to your own answers. Notice what past you did. Don't judge it, just notice it. Do not judge, notice it. But ask yourself today, and this is kind of trippy, the only person you really are ever is present day you. Past you, yesterday you, is in the past, but it was the present for you. Okay? Ask yourself today, do I still want those 2 blenders? If the answer is yes, no big deal. Again, you've released the tension. You've given yourself an opportunity to ask yourself the question, and you've decided, yes, I'm going to keep those 2. No big deal. If you said, well, I don't want to get rid of both of them, but maybe I will experiment with just having 1 blender or 2 crock pots. Again, it's going to be a chunk at a time. Okay? It's going to be a chunk at a time. Now, Anne is saying it's kind of deeper with her as far as the older generation and shoulds. Yes, when the people are still alive physically, it can be more difficult. That was the way it was with my dad. I tried to help, and I'll never forget he yelled at me because I know, and I don't damn well, that desk will function so much better in another room, but I digress. Yeah, but sometimes the older generation is still alive. It's better that they live in your heart. The best version of them lives in our heart. The not so good version of them may live in the thoughts that you have that is really their words. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I love this Kara today, and we've got 5 minutes. So she's got a plan for today. What's your plan for today? Now, I will be honest with you. One of the things I planned to do today is at 9 o'clock I was going to get off of this and I was going to hop on to a decluttering party. Now, nobody's bought tickets to this decluttering party, and I just share this with you as not a guilt, but I'm cool with that. I'm totally cool with that if that time of day and day of week does not work for you. I will learn from that, and perhaps a Thursday at 9 a.m. just doesn't work for people. Totally cool. There are more Thursday ones, and there are tons of more decluttering parties available to you. So I highly recommend to, if you think the decluttering party will help you, by basically giving you support and an excuse, basically, to do some decluttering and test out these theories in real time with support. Make sure you're on the mailing list. Sign up at destinationdecluttered.com and check out the secret page. That's where the list is. Okay? Now, I had a plan. The plan is not going to work the way I thought it was. Here's no big deal. I can do something else with that time. What's your plan for today? Now, Kara says, today I'm going to help a friend with garden design, helping somebody with something she's good at. This is what I do. I am helping people notice how they think about their clutter, how the way they think about their clutter makes them feel, and ideally showing you that it shouldn't just be this loop, but it could put you into action if you don't like it. She's going to move the tropicals outside. She's going to list 10 things, sell 1 thing, and give away a fryer. Now, notice what she's doing. She's also being very specific about what she's going to do. She's chunking it down, and she's ending it with a smile, so she's feeling good about it. Anastasia says, I learned from you. What is it that I learned it from you? Was it, here's your brain on drugs? I'm, again, wires crossed up here, but it's all Gen X. She said, I learned from you, separate laundry, pants, shirts, and found out I had a lot more shirts than pants, and too many. Yeah, chunking it down. Yeah. Now, Anastasia says, I have a small blender, never used for anything. I thought I would make fruit smoothies. Past you had an idea. I'm going to be the kind of person that makes fruit smoothies. Obviously, you're not, and that's not a judgment. So notice, I thought I was going to do that, but in real life, I'm not doing it. You can start to do it if you want, but also if you're not that kind of person, that's okay. Because even though you're not a smooth fruity, a fruit smoothie person, you're an awesome person who you are. You don't need the fruit smoothies to make you a good person. Yes, and we are all, here's the thing, many of us are struggling with other people's clutter. And it could be people who are still around, but their brains are going. Please, none of us know if we're going to get dementia. Start making decisions about your things before you lose your own mind. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, right? Okay, Sconson. Now, I only have a minute. I'm going to sign off regardless of the party or not, but we have a YouTube live show coming up in just a couple hours. Okay, I would love to get into this, Sconson. So if you want to show up and mention that again on the YouTube channel, I'd love to get into it. They're saying Hubs and I tried to declutter the basement together. He wants to get rid of stuff, and I want to keep a lot. Ugh. Notice the ugh is I don't like that feeling. What I would ask for you is between now and when we do the YouTube Live, get curious. Get your notebook. Fold the paper in half, and on the left-hand side, write down all the thoughts that come up when I ask you the question, why don't you want to get rid of certain things? What are the thoughts that come up when I say, why do you want to keep a lot? And I'm saying it in the tone of curiosity, not judgment. Curiosity will open you up for the answers that are inside you already. If you are judgy, you're not going to feel safe revealing yourself to yourself. So do not judge yourself. Get curious, open up the channels, and let it stream out of you. Write it down so you know what's going on behind your decision making. Okay? Now, Anastasia says, I keep thinking I'm going to use things and never do. Get curious. Why am I scared to plan? Why am I scared to plan? Yeah. So La Prof says, can you remind us of the next dates for the party? Not all of them, but I will say this because I want you guys to practice this one thing. Practice going to the secret page on the website. I will tell you that after today, there is a decluttering party. The next one in line is on Saturday. this coming Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern. But there's literally 8 more of them after that. Okay? But I would love to continue these conversations, but I'm going to sign off now because I respect your time and I respect my time. So I say to you, my name is Beth. I'm a decluttering life coach. My coaching is called Destination Decluttered. I do TikTok lives and YouTube lives twice a day, pretty much, one per day, except for when I'm traveling. And I'm here for you to do these things. If you like what you hear, sign up for my mailing list. It's free, and it just gives you access to all sorts of resources that you don't get if you're not on the mailing list. And how you sign up is destinationdecluttered.com. Okay? And I love that people are giving me feedback that, yeah, Thursday's not so good. Mondays tend to work. Thursday's not so good. Cool. I'll do something different. I will still hold to all the ones that I've scheduled. When I say I'll do something, I will do it because it might work for some people. I will do something different in July and August. This is what we do. We see if something's going to work. And if it works, great. We do it more. If it doesn't, we try something else. Okay? So, yeah, I learned it by watching you, Dad. I learned it from you. All right, Anastasia just eats the fruit. All righty, here we go, friends. So many good convos I would like to continue, but I'm going to sign off now. If you want to continue it, Destination Decluttered on YouTube. We have a YouTube Live coming up, and you can know what time it is. See how sneaky I'm being by encouraging you to look at the secret page. The secret page outlines them all. Schedule Beth Blinders for the win, Kat Roby, and I will catch you on the flip side. All right?